paying attention.
When you first saw the thumbnail for this video, did you have to look a second time because you weren't sure that this was actually Planetside? I had the same reaction when I saw the dev post for this update. Hey guys, I'm Morphologist, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the newest update added to Planetside 2 called Escalation, and by the end you'll have an idea of what it's going to be adding. And maybe, just maybe, you might want to download it and try it again for yourself. As you can see, I certainly did. Just a quick disclaimer, this video isn't sponsored. I did this on my own free will because I do love Planetside 2, and it was cool to see such a big update come for such a favorite game of mine. By the way, if you guys like content like this and you want to see more, and by the end, if you think I did a good job, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out and the channel. So this big ship that you saw in the thumbnail, and probably what got you hooked to watch the rest of this video, is called the Bastion. This ship is going to be an endgame vehicle that you're going to be able to pull as an outfit. Outfits are basically like big organizations or guilds in Planetside 2. Now, the issue right now, as the developers explain, is that outfits are kind of a bit of a glorified friends list, with not much benefit to actually work with your outfit once you've joined. Unless they've got some hard requirements that if you don't work with them, they kick you out, which isn't very common. Now, what they want to do is to incentivize people working together by rewarding you for taking bases together with your outfit. Now, that reward comes in three different forms. The first is going to be in the form of the resource that is going to be unique for that particular base that you take with your outfit. And they've got three different types of those resources that you're going to need to eventually get a Bastion. One of those resources is the most rare. It's Araxium, which is located at the very center of the map. If you haven't played a lot of Planetside 2, that's usually where the biggest fights happen, and so that pretty much incentivizes your outfit to try to help and take that center base in the course of a continent's takeover. Right now, since this is the test server, fleet carriers can be crafted with one of each resource, which is not going to be the final number. I would expect to see that these numbers will be much higher and harder to collect once it is released on the 19th of this month. Once they've been accumulated, and if there's nobody else on the server in your faction that has pulled a Bastion, you'll be able to craft and pull one. This will probably be, again, near the end of a continent's takeover because it will take time to collect all of the resources necessary. But before we get into the experience of Bastions and what they bring to the battlefield, there are two other rewards you guys gotta know about. So right next to the armory where you can find your Bastion, you'll see in your home section your loyalty rank. This will increase as you work with your outfit to take different bases. And as you do so, you'll also earn merit, which can be used to purchase stuff from vendors in Sanctuary. Now, I apologize for the footage. Sanctuary has not yet been released to the test server, and I'm looking forward to seeing that later this week. But what it is a neutral social hub on a ship orbiting the planet of Araxis, which is where all the fights are taking place. This is where you'll actually be able to encounter people from other factions, converse with them, but more importantly, use that loyalty rank to access vendors which you can purchase items from using the merit points earned through working with your outfit. Some of these items are going to be cosmetics, which if you don't know, previously were only accessible by using real-world currency as part of how they actually fund the development of the game. It's an interesting move, and I appreciate it. It allows people who don't like spending a lot of real-world money to actually start to customize their character a bit more. But you guys probably just want to know more about that Bastion, don't you? Let's get back to it. So once your outfit has dominated the server, earning enough to purchase one first, you'll be the captain if you're the one who's pulled it. Of course though, if you're in the outfit that's pulled the Bastion, you'll also be able to spawn on it and utilize one of 9 hard points on it in the form of anti-air turrets and air-to-ground cannons. It also has a set of batteries below it that are controlled by the captain that can provide constant and unrelenting bombardment for ground troops below that will decimate infantry and armor alike. Its movement operates more like an RTS game than you might expect. You move the ship around the map by selecting waypoints for it to travel to. its bombardment works in much the same way, and since you don't have a clear view of the ground, you'll have to rely on your ground troops to actually provide you with targets to engage with that bombardment ability. This isn't the only resource though that this provides. It can also constantly spawn ESFs for your outfit, providing it with an air group that can always follow around to protect it and to engage other air and ground targets, making it in essence an aircraft carrier. It also has enough additional slots inside of it to carry an entire platoon to wherever you want on a map, meaning that you can have massive drops together on targets. A crafted Bastion though isn't the end of its life. You'll also want to upgrade it as you have it up, and so if you have more resources, you can start adding modules that can drop things for your ground troops like vehicles, and that comes in the form of the anvil system. They can be light, medium, or heavy. Here the commander in the air is engaging another air group as well as another bastion of another faction, but he's also providing us air support along with this anvil drop. You just saw that big pod drop down. That's actually one of those anvil devices that can be used basically like a one-time terminal for people to deploy vehicles. Depending on the size, you can deploy tanks, or in this case, I'm spawning a Sunderer, so that we have a place for not just my outfit to spawn near the next target, but the entire faction. That way we can work together with other platoons to move up the lattice. As purely awesome as the Bastion is though, it's not invincible, and you're gonna need a pretty good air group to defend it. Even though it's got AA turrets, if enemy assets are getting close enough to shoot at it, they can shoot one of its many soft spots to eventually destroy it. These critical systems come in the form of these yellowish, orangish glowing segments or modules on the exterior of its hull, and it's got a number of them you're going to have to attack. Once all of them are destroyed, it'll explode and disappear. But it's, like I said, gonna take a lot of work to try to take it out. The one that I'm engaging here actually isn't fully manned, whereas ours was. The difference was that ours was able to outlast 6 other bastions and take them out one by one, because their air groups just were not coordinated and they didn't have enough people manning the guns on those bastions to defend it properly. But this is the test server, and I imagine that once it's released, if somebody was able to pull one, they're gonna have enough people to man it, and it's going to be extremely challenging taking one of these things out. So how was the experience all in all playing Planetside 2 with these new additions? Well, I'm gonna let you know in the next part of this video, because I spent 5 hours yesterday in the test server seeing it for myself. Hopefully we can instigate a fight over here between the Venom and us. I want to see some ground and air combat together. So right now the test server has this going on this weekend, and I think probably for a good part of this week until the 19th when they release it for real on the main servers, and that's because they need to test out a lot of things with them, namely their balance, how easy are they or how hard are they to kill, how effective are they in providing ground support, and do they add what they're hoping to the battlefield. Well, for that last part, they add a ton. It is absolutely a blast to work with a commander who's communicating in one of these things, providing you ground support through vehicle spawns, bombardments, and ESF spawning with the rest of your platoon. If you're more of a pilot, it's just as fun. You'll engage in massive aerial battles defending your bastion and engaging other bastions on the field near the end of the battle, and that can be pretty freaking epic stuff. Diving in and out in between 1, 2, or 3 bastions at once it's like the battle over Coruscant in the Clone Wars, that sort of feeling. You've got tracers whizzing by your head, your ships going down, your commanders shouting orders, defend this and that. It's just beautiful, epic chaos of the highest order, and an experience I only ever rarely have had in any other video game. In terms of balance though, I'm not quite sure where the ship's at the moment. The Bastion's pretty freaking cool, but because we didn't have a huge amount of people on the test server while I was playing, we didn't have the massive scale engagements that you typically see in prime time on a Planetside server. And so I didn't really get to see those giant Bastion cannons taking out huge swaths of people like I expect that they would, just because there wasn't enough people to shoot at. So I'm really looking forward to their test server event later this week, where they're going to try to get more people together to actually fully test this thing before they put it to live. And they really should, because we did encounter some bugs, like sometimes the Bastion suddenly not being able to do damage to other ESFs, even though they could be damaged by ESFs on your team, which can kind of kill the fun of the game. One of the things I do hope that they improve, though, with the final update is making the command position, the captain position on the Bastion, a bit more engaging. Right now, you only have 3 types of views. You've got the map view, the bridge view, and then the top-down view, which you can't move at all. There's no external camera that you can rotate around the ship to get a better view of the battlefield, and that kind of makes it visually uninteresting as a streamer for the audience, because you just can't see what's going on well enough. So, at least from my perspective, and I think probably from somebody's perspective just playing the game, even if they don't have people watching them, it would be a bit more engaging and interesting to have a bit better view of what's around you and maybe be able to switch between several different camera points on the Bastion. Now, I'm sure many of you are now wondering down in the comment section below if you can walk on top of this thing and if it has an interior. Unfortunately, the answer to the second question is no, it has no interior, but yes, you can walk on top of it. The only thing is that if it's moving, you'll fall off. This is something that they addressed in the live stream. They said that they currently don't have a way to make a moving physics grid in Planetside 2's engine. They would have to code that in, and it would take a long time for them to do. And so it's not going to be in this initial release, and they don't really have any current set in stone plans to eventually do it. If there is enough people asking for this, though, I'm sure that they will find the time and resources to put it together. But that is, of course, contingent on how much interest this brings back to the aging Planetside 2. And that really is the crux of the issue, isn't it? Is this going to reinvigorate interest in Planetside 2? I really hope it does. I think it deserves more attention than it's getting, and it got a pretty bad start, probably due to some poor decisions by the suits over at Sony before the development studio broke off to do their own thing. Sony never really has been known for making great decisions when it comes to their games companies. Cough. SWG, cough, cough. But maybe, with some hard work and luck, this will be the thing that they need to reinvigorate their player base. There is one other thing, though, that I didn't mention yet in the video, and it's worth putting at the end here because you guys should probably know about it. They are adding one big feature in addition to the Bastion into the game. It's called Outfit Wars. It's going to basically pit the best outfits together that qualify on the server in a battle on a new continent called Desolation. That's in space. So it's a pretty different atmosphere. And it's an interesting idea, but it's something I didn't get to test because there really wasn't anybody trying it. That's because it's not really complete. The bases themselves aren't really finished yet, and there just aren't enough people on the server to really fill it. So hopefully this week we get more of a look at this through their testing and get a better understanding of whether or not this is going to be a lot of fun. But I suspect for some outfits in Planetside 2, which are pretty competitive, that it will be. I must confess to you that I didn't expect to return to Araxis so soon after my last video. I just did one about Planetside 2 7 years later, after all. But this is a pretty big update, and it's got me really excited for the game again, enough so that I want to do an event with you guys. So, depending on if the release does happen on the 19th, I think we should set something up. So check my community and Armco for when that might be once things get more final. Planetside 2 remains free to play, so if you wanted to try it out, you can find that in the description below. To try out the Bastions though, you'll need to download a separate client called the test server, and that will also be in the description if you're interested in checking it out. You will have to make an account though, but like I said, it is free to play. But what about you guys? Has this reinvigorated your interest in Planetside 2? Please let me know down in the comments section below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, and you think I deserve it here at the end, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And of course, I hope to see you guys Planetside.